Really see my eyes now, huh? Okay. Oh, if I hold it this close, that's okay. I don't need those words, right? I know it's past Halloween, but anyway. This is an English song. It goes back to English history. What is it? The 8 wives of Henry VI? There's the 6 wives of Henry VIII. Anyway, one of them was named Anne Boleyn. And there's a famous tower in London. Now in the Tower of London, large as life, the ghost of Anne Boleyn walks nightly there. Now Anne Boleyn was once King Henry's wife, until he had the headsman bob her hair. This wrong he done her many centuries ago, and back each night she comes to tell him so. With her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower. With her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. She's gone to find King Henry, she means giving him what for. Gadzooks, she's gonna tell him off for having spilt her gore. And just in case the headsman wants to give her an encore, she's got her head tucked underneath her arm. With her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody towers. With her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. For miles and miles along, oh, let me try the third verse next. She's gone to find King Henry, she means giving him what's for. Gadzooks, she's gonna tell him off for having spilt her gore. I did this verse already. And just in case the headsman wants to give her an encore, she keeps her head tucked underneath her arm. You got the chorus yet? With her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower. With her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. For miles and miles along the drafty corridor she goes. She often catches cold, poor thing, it's chilly when it blows. And it's awfully awkward for the queen to have to blow her nose. With her head tucked underneath her arm. Imagine that. With her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower. With her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. Now, sometimes old King Henry throws a spread for all his gals and pals, a ghastly crew. The headman carves the joint and cuts the bread. Then in comes Anne Boleyn to spoil the dew. She holds her head up with a wild war whoop. Woo! And Henry says, "Don't drop it in the soup!" With her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower. With her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. One day she found King Henry, she meant giving him what for. No, that's not quite right. One day she found King Henry, he was in the castle bar. He said, "Are you Jane Seymour, Anne Boleyn, or Catherine Parr? For how on earth am I to know just who on earth you are?" With your head tucked underneath your arm. With her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower. With her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. The sentries think that it's a football that she carries in. They look at her and say, "Is Michigan gonna win?" They think it's old Jim Harbaugh instead of poor old Anne Boleyn. With her head tucked underneath her arm, last chance. With her head tucked underneath her arm she walks the bloody tower, with her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. And you know how I knew it was a funny song? On this piece of paper where the words are written, right up above it, it says funny songs.